Hi.
Hi.
Oh my God, this is super exciting, nerve-wracking as well, because this is the first time we're doing this. So
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. This is going to be great.
We were going to say, look, if at any point you get bored or you're thinking, oh my God, I need to go to sleep, that's what you get. You know what? Just let us know and we'll just go, okay, kind of thing.
No, not at all.
Yeah, after like interviewing criminals all this time, you're going to be the first celebrity that I'm more or less interviewing. So
I just haven't been caught yet.
Me and you have got so much in common. It's unbelievable.
Well, hair for starters.
Oh God, yes. First of all, the hair. Yeah. I'm thinking of getting it up, but I'm like so nerve-wracked about.
What? Cutting your hair?
Yeah, because I'm thinking, should I get rid of it? It's been long forever. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to miss it. I know I'm going to miss it. You know, you have one of those. Yeah, I'm having those.
I mean, but I will say I love my long hair, but I miss my short hair days because shampoo dry is like 5 minutes. Otherwise, it's like for hours, you know?
Yeah. That's it. I know I'll feel the same if I have my hair cut. So, yeah.
So, are you currently in Mumbai then?
I'm in Mumbai.
What's it like there at the moment? How are things?
It's getting better, but it's been really rough. We've had a lot of loss and the medical system has been like bent under pressure because, you know, there's so many people here. Like India has so many people, but particularly, you know, how it is in London or New York or, you know, those cities that just get an influx of everyone from everywhere. So it was really hard. We've been in lockdown for a really long time and it's just started opening up, but I'm being like extra careful because I'm in between my vaccinations and, you know, so slowly I'm going to get back to work by the end of the month, weirdly. So that's exciting and scary and I'm grateful, but I'm grateful to be out. Yeah.
How long has it been since you've last actually worked on anything? Like
over 2 months.
And also, isn't it like the monsoon season as well? So the weather as well, not, you know, that's causing chaos over there.
Yeah. I mean, where I live, first of all, I'm not heading out. But also where I live, we don't have so much flooding. But there's a lot of, you know, because there's just the way the city is, like surrounded by water and areas are low lying. So it gets really badly flooded. So they're managing that along with COVID and deciding how much do we open up public transport. And so it's a hard time. It's a hard time for the people here. It's a hard time for the state government to know which, you know, it's a juggling act, really, like juggling one, you know, calamity after the other.
Well, I was going to say, you're really multi-talented. We obviously know there's so much that it seems like you're always active and doing something, songwriter, singer, actress, model, inspiring women, you know, there's just basically so much. What thing do you enjoy the most?
It's a weird thing to say, but like after years of finding myself and then like being things that other people expected me to, especially in the business, I think what I'm enjoying the most is being myself for everyone, you know, and not compartmentalizing it with just my friends or my family, but just being able to be myself and speak my truth and actually have it integrate with my work and the people I work with and a larger audience thanks to social media. So that's really what I've enjoyed doing the most. Yeah.
That's something I had heard. I watched something a while back of yours and it was an interview. You mentioned something like that. And that's something that really like stuck with me. I was thinking, you know, you're so down to earth. Everyone goes through stuff. And I think for me, that's personal.
You put a face on, don't you, or a mask. So for each person that you see normally, and then you know, it comes to a point where you stop. You don't even know who yourself is, kind of thing, and you're feeling really bad. But obviously, I think that was the other reason why I wanted to like hear from yourself, because obviously got the 3 girls of our own. We've gone through. I mean, we're looking at it from a perspective like obviously being parents and going through it ourselves, and then trying to raise the kids in a certain way, and seeing from obviously you're from a family that's well known, and you know people will have this idea of, oh, she's from this family, but you've obviously gone through so much yourself, and it was more or less like to learn about obviously your journey of how you your obstacles, your struggles, and how you overcame them, or have you overcome them? Or are you still fighting them day to day?
I think, whether it's race or gender, and I think you especially will understand both, is we have a lot of microaggressions. And I would just advise your daughters, or when I have daughters tomorrow, is that you have to pick and choose when you react and when you don't, because otherwise it's a waste of your energy on a day-to-day basis. But then you also have to stand up when that line is crossed and say, no. This is the woman I am. This is the line, and you're on that side. And there's a good reason for that, especially when it comes to gender and race, color, religion. Sometimes you need to, especially when you are trying to live your life in a more open and progressive way, you've got to draw that line sometimes. So I think it's just it's a real fine balance about knowing, no, this has to be water off a duck's back for me, because I have so many other amazing, interesting things to do today. And then sometimes you have to say, no, this is the second you pause and you reflect on all the understanding you have of yourself. And when you articulate that, you also become a kind of voice for your friends and the other women around you. And it's because microaggressions are so small, even the changes has to happen in the same consistency, So I think that's the only thing I really have to say about that, because I think as a woman, it's different in India, it's different in England, it's different in America. And, I think I remember watching something very early on when I was first buying something in England, and I was thinking, oh, it's so nice, because in India, you always have to get a guy in to talk, because then they take it more seriously, and it's infuriating. But then I remember thinking, oh, this is so good. I feel so respected. But then I saw something on BBC where, what I thought was a privileged woman in terms of feminism was saying, well, I'm not okay with this. So I said, right. So it's varying degrees of what we choose to battle. So I think that's important for us to understand as a community as a whole, gender no bar.
I think you got a home in the UK as well, haven't you?
Yes, I do. In SC1.
SC1. And obviously you performed last year as well in London, am I right?
Yeah.
You were saying that you struggled one time to get a cab you were going to do some performance, and the cab didn't come out to pick you. Was it Uber or something?
So let me tell you, I love black cabs, I love Uber. That day, because I live right near London Bridge, and there's always some crazy stuff going down at Borough Market or London Bridge, and then they block everything off. And I was going to a gig. I forgot where I was playing, but it was a ways away. There was no way for me. And also all the stations were shut. So I was walking. I looked like a crazy woman because I was in my stage outfit with my black lips and vinyl boots. And I thought I was wearing tiny shorts and my fur coat, fake fur coat. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to jump in the Uber. So I'll just have to freeze for about 5 minutes while I wait for it. But of course, I had to walk forever. And I had this giant suitcase and everyone was looking at me like really suspect. And I was like, and I just wanted to say, do I look like I can do anything but fall in these high heels right now? Like, just go away,
How is it for you as a female? Obviously, you've seen the sides of India and you've seen here. How is it so different to you, kind of thing?
It's all different till you get into a cab with a Sardar uncle driver.
I can imagine.
No, it's really, really different. And both places have, their own unique strengths. I really love the energy of London. I think it's very similar to India in the sense that there's so much history in both countries, right? So you walk around London and then there's some statue from something, some 200 years ago and 500 years ago, and there's plaques everywhere. And I love that about London. I love that, it's a part of the history. Some of it really bloody and scary, but, but it's there. The history is there. And it's such a melting pot of different cultures, which of course comes with its own challenges, I'm sure. But I just love the energy. And I think it's very different in London. London is much more organized. People keep to the right and they walk in single file. And I just breathe in organized movement of humans. Because in India, it's just like, so that's a major difference.
Do you come often?
Yeah, I haven't since the pandemic. Because
otherwise you do.
Yeah, otherwise I'm there every 3 to 4 months. I'm either doing a gig or just visiting. Yeah.
How do you balance, obviously, songwriting, then obviously singing, and then fitting in like film schedules kind of thing? And then obviously you got your personal life around that as well, haven't you? So I think if you have any time left, how do you balance all of this?
Well, this time has been really good for my personal life, honestly, because it's given me time to really look into myself, be more in touch with the people I love. So that way it's been great. And even when I'm working, I always make an effort to do that. I don't want to be that friend who was like, oh, I was best friends with her, but she's a movie star now. Like, I never wanted to be that person. So I make my regular, I'll set alarms and call my friends in America or London or India. And thanks to like Instagram and stuff, you keep in touch constantly. Like, you like their story and then a conversation happens for 5 seconds and you connect just for those 5 seconds. That's great. But I just really like being busy. And I think the people around me understand that and they respect that. So they don't try and fight for my time, which is such a blessing. Otherwise, I don't think I would be able to manage, really. And as far as music, singing, acting goes, I don't really think about it like that. I just go day by day and kind of, put it on the schedule for the day.
You want to ask, obviously, regarding all the actors that she's worked with. It's all right. She was like going, how does she keep a straight face, or, like, every time we do a reaction or watch a video, say some of the actors that you've worked with, obviously, Allu Arjun or a Vijay Jamwal or a John Abraham, people like that. And she's like, I would just get all blushy and going, how am I around this?
One song that you've done, and it's amazing. And literally, what's his name? Vijay Jamwal. And it's completely more or less not wearing anything. I was like, I don't understand, man. Like, it's just crazy. How did she keep a straight face? If I was going out on a night out with this Shruti now, I'd be like, tell me in detail, honestly, how did it feel? Because like, I can't.
You don't see it. You don't. Okay, so it's literally like asking a gynecologist, how does it feel to help a woman give birth to a baby? It must be so. And they're just like, we do 15 of those a week. Moving on. So it's like, it's just my job, and they're fine. They're professional. We're professional.
I was going to say that it probably works the same way the other way as well. It's like, we just this is our job and what we do and carry on.
And weirdly, as an actor, the romantic scenes of being like nangu pangu and half naked, it's never bothered me. But what I find uncomfortable sometimes is we share emotional, unspoken connects in a scene maybe where requires a lot of pain, a lot of anger, and you have to go really deep inside and bring it out. And then they see a part of you that you don't professionally ever show them. You don't wish them good morning like that. And in that split second as actors, we have these, like these moments where like acting and reality overlap, where something very vulnerable comes out. And it's usually in a scene which involves screaming or crying or like being on the edge. And I think they see it in me, I see it in them. And it feels so vulnerable and naked. And then either you really respect the person for valuing that in you and playing with it, or playing with it in a bad way and just like thinking about themselves. And then I'm like, that's a terrible actor. Not the way they perform, or because acting is all about trust. So when they break that trust in that moment, and you can never explain this in an interview, like, oh, I didn't like that person so much. Oh, because he wasn't kind to me in the scene. They'll never get it. But it's so much more nerve-wracking to go into a scene that requires you to be that way. And then they call cut and you're not able to come out. And then you have that moment where you feel completely emotionally naked. Yeah.
And I bet it doesn't sort of help when you got probably about 10, 15 other people all sort of standing around you kind of thing.
They just vanish. They literally disappear.
Yeah.
Have you seen Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
So it's like, when he takes and he puts on the ring. So action is like putting on the ring, and then there's just you and Sarah,
Yeah.
Was it always like that, was it? Or like to start off with, or have you eventually like felt like that, that everyone's disappeared, that it's just you and that person?
Yeah, I mean, it took a while for me because, people thought, oh, she'll get it, her parents are actors. But I really sucked in the beginning. And I used to have nightmares of the camera coming to me and stuff like, like an anaconda, and I was like, this is like giving me anxiety. And I think I developed anxiety way back then and I just didn't realize it. So it took me a long time to make it my own secret, fun place, a really long time. Yeah.
Because you had your sort of debut, there was like 2 or 3 video films in different languages at the similar time, wasn't there? So you done it in 3 different cinemas. We used to have a DVD and video stores, which are obviously extinct now.
Right.
And so I had 2 copies of your movie Luck, which people used to come and, take. So I did see your first one. I think
no.
Yeah, so we did see it. And Sri, like the one Ramaya Vastavaya.
Oh, yeah. Everyone loves that. Yeah.
Because it sort of reminded, it was like for the new generation, like Maine Pyar Kiya for the next generation.
Totally Maine Pyar Kiya. Yeah. For sure.
It was.
Yeah.
And then obviously you saw your role in D-Day with Arjun Rampal. It was like based even that movie itself and your role in that. It was like totally different to each time watching.
Do you guys want to know the funniest thing is Ramaya Vastavaya and D-Day both released on the exact same day. So in one movie I'm the village virgin and the other I'm like a prostitute harboring a terrorist. So it's like. My friends are like, look at you leading your double life so well.
It's like a Sita and Geeta kind of situation.
Yeah, but in reality.
Not so long ago also, is it Treadstone TV series? What was that like? Obviously in America, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I didn't shoot in America, though I shot in Budapest, which it turns out is where most people shoot. So if you think that's Paris, it's not. It's probably Budapest. So we were shooting in Budapest. And you know what it was is I was traveling between England and America. I've always had a connection because I studied there. And then I got an agent and he was like, oh, I'll send you auditions. And here's the thing. I had never auditioned in my life before that. I'd done singing auditions, but I'd never done acting auditions. So when I just had to read like off the paper, just like this, I was like, I don't know if I can do this because I'm so used to like the costume and the sets and the props and the other actor that I realized, okay, this is really fun and challenging. I've never actually done this. So it was amazing to start that process. And even with Treadstone, he sent me the, make a self-tape, these are the instructions. And I was like, And I just did it for like literally randomly, got a friend over. We went to some place in London only, I think in Soho, in like a little taping studio. And I was like, I'm really hungry. Let's just get this done with. And then I went to eat like shawarma after that. And then I got a call a month later saying, oh, you're going to be in Treadstone. And I was like, what? That shawarma was really good. But it was amazing for me to step into a place where it was completely new. There was no baggage. There was no anything. It was just fun.
From there, would you do more if obviously Hollywood or even, I don't know, British movies, they reached out and said, can you do some more? Would you happily be a part of that as well?
Yeah, it's just a trick of balancing because I was already balancing my music, right? So I was really having a struggle telling people at home that I want to do many things, which is fine and they respect it, but then it just becomes a problem with time. So what I realized is that I want to find a way to balance it. So I'm just not off completely because my audience and my connect to India is very, very important to me.
Yeah.
And fortunately in the West, you don't have that much of a expiry date like a carton of milk on a woman. So you can stretch that a bit longer. Yeah.
I'll let you carry on. I'm just like, keep on that. I just feel like being a person who loves movies, I've just got millions of stuff.
What is your sun sign?
Mine's Taurus.
No wonder. And are you like really Sagittarius?
Me?
Cancer.
Yeah.
Cancerian.
No wonder. That's why you're so patient with it.
For me, it's more about how beautiful you are, how much we've got in common. I'll go on and on. Like, I was watching some of your videos. I was like, oh my God, she's so funny. She's so down to earth. Like, she's literally she'll do an interview, and then next thing you know, she's got her live on her Instagram, and she's there for a couple of hours just chatting to people, and that's really sweet. You're just being yourself, and I like that in a person, because I'm just like that too. Do you know what I mean? And honest, relatable. You love Candy Crush, I hear. You have your app. You have apps.
No, so now I've moved from Candy Crush to Soda Pop Crush.
My kids think that's like such an ancient thing, but I do the same thing. If I'm free, I'm
so relaxing. It's so relaxing. Yeah, it is. It really is.
From that to like makeup, fashion, tattoos. Not long ago.
Do you have tattoos?
I do. I want some more, but I just haven't had the time to. And the funniest one is, I read something in the article, something about you wearing black lipstick, and they called you Jalil.
Yeah.
Here we go. Undressing.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. You know, when they were like, Chudel ke jaise lag rahi ho, like, that's kind of what I was going for, so thanks.
I've actually tattooed on me today. I'm like, that is so weird. Yeah, so we have
that is so cool.
The makeup, the beauty side of it. You love fashion as well.
It's just all a form of expression, isn't it? Just like who you are and your moods. Yeah,
exactly. If you was to open your own store, like say your brand, fashion brand, have you got any kind of label, like name you would call it? Or is there a certain kind of look as well? Or would it be like a whole range of different?
I'm actually starting to get into hair care, skin care, and all of that stuff with the things like, I had been using coconut oil, good old fashioned South Indian girl for years. And I know that works, but I know it doesn't work to just be like, tel lagao sar pe, you've got to like balance it with, just got to smell of vanilla or something, but, so I'm very into that. And fashion, because, I've often been like, when I, show up in London or New York, they're like, oh, I love the way you dress. You look so glamorous. You look so good. And then it's like,
so great.
I come to India and they're like, the comments would be like, why are her shoes like space boots? She's just in Mumbai. And I'm like, they're goth platforms, And so on my mesh top, even my friends are like, did you catch any fish today? And I'm just like, boys, So I think it would be accessible mix, because I've loved goth. I'm emo for life, so I like the goth fit. Like, I love what you're wearing as well, because it's just that little bit, a little hint of something here and there. So I definitely will. I've had tons of names in mind, and then I don't know when it comes out, you'll know what it is.
I know for a fact you don't like tea. You don't like no.
No, I don't like coffee. I don't like coffee. I don't drink coffee. I love English breakfast tea and Earl Grey, and it's like my friends make so much fun of me, and I get really pissed off when they like put the milk in too soon and it's not turned the correct brown, and they're like, okay, you've turned it.
Yeah. Me and him, he does not make me tea. That's another thing we have in common. I love my tea. It has to be dark, not too much milk. He is not allowed to make my tea because it's just too milky and whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Food do you love to eat? If you could go out on a night out, have a good night out, and then afterwards want something to eat, what would it be?
So it depends on where I am. So if I'm in India, I just come home and have like ghar ka khana or like South Indian food. And I love cooking for my friends. So, I love cooking at home over here. I have a much bigger kitchen than I do in London. Also in London, when I cook Indian food, I just feel like it sits in the walls forever. So I'm like, all the brick and everything. So I rarely actually cook unless one of my friends is like, could you please make dal? And I'm like, okay. Yeah. But I love Indian food. When I'm in London, I like sushi. I love Peruvian food a lot. So I keep telling my friends, let's go have Peruvian food. And they're like, that's really random, but sure. Yeah.
It's always been Indian for you.
It's always been Indian for me as well.
I know, there's nothing to beat that.
Yeah, it's nice. I love Indian food. In fact, last night we just went out for Indian as well. But sometimes it's like you want something different. You want something.
I think
it's hard to like.
With Sri, it's just that when she's cooking her own food, I mean, I know how to cook it as well, but she tends to do obviously a lot more. And whenever she's cooking, she's like going, I'm fed up and bored of eating my own food. That I want something different kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is more. Whereas me, I enjoy eating her food, but I don't mind eating out. It's just like it says, it's like food is just like the favorite.
Oh,
so
that's sweet.
Can't complain.
So now the internet knows he appreciates your cooking.
Can't hide that one now.
No, you can't.
No.
In mornings.
The other thing I was going to say was obviously being on Instagram and everything else, and obviously in movies as well, you dress up like you says, and girls basically get bullied on social media and stuff like that, either for the way that they look, or either they're overweight or the way the clothes wear and everything. But since we started doing this, I mean, our children want to jump on YouTube and be part of, the whole what we do. But when they sort of came aboard, the comments that they started reading kind of thing, because obviously Sri always loves to dress up. I'm the kind of person who's never, I've always, even from Sri and my daughters and stuff, be yourselves, do what you want to, dress how you want to. That's how you're going to be. And the thing was, like I said, we're basically saying to them, be yourselves and do what you guys want to. And like I said, dress how you guys want to. It's your life. Just be the best at whatever you choose to do. Just enjoy that. And but since we've done this, like I said, Sweet dresses up the way she does. But every single time, it's like the opposite what people think. They start going, oh, look at that guy. He doesn't tell his wife what she should wear, what she shouldn't wear, or he's making her wear that clothes. And then you look at it and you're going, wow, the comments that you make going, how can he not control his woman and tell her what she should wear, how she should behave? How did you...
I think it's so different for me to look at it from the perspective of parents, right? Because I actually, up until this point, I've never even asked my parents, like, how do you feel about the stuff people say about me? Maybe because they're, famous and they've dealt with it. They've just always been like, do what you do, blinders on, do what you do. And it's old school advice. But here's the thing. It's not just the Indian YouTube comment section in India, or you go to an Instagram comment section of, I remember there was like a musician I really like from a band called System of a Down. He's American, and he put up something about his Armenian heritage, and people just went crazy. So it happens in all different kinds of contexts, right? Or somebody put up a picture of an older actress and a younger musician recently, and I was like, I wonder if their comments are as bad as the ones, whatever, And I look, and sure enough, they were. And that really brought me to the conclusion that we're actually social media, the huge explosion of it is very nascent. It's like very new. It's just happened actually when you look at the larger picture of things, when you compare it to email and internet and telephones. And so suddenly this comes in with such accessibility. What I've realized is it's a great reflection of this wave of negativity that's actually flowing like a river through the whole world, right? And it makes you question, where is this coming from? It comes from people not understanding themselves, I think, and understanding what triggers them. Like, there's no need for me to comment about your white t-shirt or her black hair. There's literally no need. Like, it's a good old fashioned, like, say something nice or keep your mouth shut is just... I
was going with that.
Unless you're with your friends and having a bit of banter or something, then it's fine. But you can't be doing that in a stranger's comment section. And then people say, but you're a celebrity, or like with you. But you guys put yourself on YouTube, so you should expect that. Sure, but to what degree, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I realized that this is a great way to study a mood and to see what is the need of the hour. What are the things I need to say? So when you were showing me your Chidel tattoo, that makes me happy because a woman like you goes, yeah, hell yeah, just say it. Yeah, that's how we feel, And So that's, and also not engaging with every single troll, because they call that for a reason.
Yeah.
But in the context of teenage women, boys, all of that, your kids, basically, they're going to have to go out into this. And I think if there was a new age version of what my parents told me, which is blinders on, be yourself, unashamed, and keep on keeping on. Like, just don't even bother looking left or right.
Was you like that then, after hearing that advice from your parents? Has it ever affected you? Has at any point, any of, like, you know, obviously everyone gets comments, everyone gets negativity. Did it affect you at any point at all?
You know, what affects me is not the abuses, not the stupid stuff like that, because I'm just like, you're unhappy, block, right? But like you, what affected me was, what baffled me rather, and therefore affected me more, is like, how does someone tell you about your equation with your wife, and how do they make assumptions about you as a woman? You know, I'm like, okay, so that you've got some manual from 1952, obviously, you know. It's just funny, but it's also hurtful, because you're like, what's alarming about that is not that they attacked you or me, but it's that there's people like that still exist in the world, and they're roaming free, you know.
And that's what astonishes you, because you just like think to yourself, oh God, I feel sorry for either who they're going to marry or who they're around, because they're going to do something totally different, but the world, they're telling everyone to change, but at the same time they're going, why are these people changing and doing not what we, you know? Then it worries you, obviously, having your daughters, and you're like thinking, I hope they don't come across. Then they again go with somebody who respects who they want to be. And
I think that will come from the conversation at home, right? Like in my home, fortunately, being different, being weird was celebrated. So when these comments come in, they remind me of the kids in school who thought I was weird. And I was like, you don't matter. I don't know where you are 10 years later. And you get to see me on TV. So I'm fine with that. You know? And so I look at it that way. But I also think that it is about also what I said previously, as a woman especially, it's much more scary and hurtful and disrespectful. And you're going to have to definitely talk to your daughters about how much do you want to put yourself. But I think you would notice as a woman, what I'm noticing as well is, you have these, people who have these fixed perceptions that really have no place in the real world on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
But you also have, especially women, fighting back against, this body is not real, or this is not the way someone looks without surgery or without fillers, or this is photoshopped, and this is someone with a lot more money than you have right now. And all of these things are being put to the forefront, which I think is so valuable. And so I'm glad that with the unrealistic expectations and aspirational lifestyles, you also have your daughters being able to look, while they're, doom scrolling through Instagram, the other side where a girl's like, I don't want to shave my legs and make you happy. So that's great, that balance is starting to come about. Yeah.
I was going to say, like your family sort of thing, like you said, they more or less just said, like, with that, keep the blinders and stuff like that. Have they also, considering obviously being in India and all that, were they happy for you to just be who you want and do what you want as well? Were they like that, or did they say, no, you got to be an engineer or you got to be a doctor?
No. I'm actually the most educated person between my parents. So my father comes from a really educated family, but he dropped out of school in 9th grade, and then he is, the legendary icon that he is. But that doesn't happen to everybody. So he was like, you've got to study, right? So I'm the only one with a proper music college degree. My mom didn't study. My sister didn't get a college degree. So, and I was like, I feel really educated in my family. But so that clearly shows that it wasn't engineering, doctor. No way in our family. But because they're both bohemian and artists, and they broke the rules way back, no one was breaking the rules then. And they were like taking a sledgehammer to the rules, They were not going to turn out to be the parents who would have any expectations of us, except they would just say, work really hard and just be happy doing what you're doing. and that's it. And weirdly, my dad would always just be like, keep challenging yourself and keep working hard and just take it a day at a time, and that's really helped, I think.
How often do you see each other as a family? How often do you get together?
Not as much as we should, especially in the pandemic.
Yeah,
and my parents are separated, so we don't have the traditional Christmas dinner. I mean, there's two sides in this story. Yeah. So that's a bit challenging when you're younger, but as you get older, you form your own bonds and stuff. Sure. So, for me, I think all of us are so busy. All of us are acting. All of us are shooting or filming somewhere. So I try and make an effort when I'm passing through where my dad lives to meet him. My sister shuttles between Chennai and Mumbai, so I try and do that. Yeah, so just whenever we can, but not nearly as much as other families because we just can't,
It's not celebrations or anything big. You just don't. It's just passing.
No.
I mean, I remember, if talking about your parents, I actually watched your mum in more movies back then than your dad's. I think your dad's, I only watched him because I only watched Bollywood cinema here in the UK. The other cinemas, they hardly ever push them here. That only started coming more or less recently. Whereas Bollywood, I mean, I saw your dad, I remember watching him in Giraftar with Amitabh Bachchan and Rajinikanth. And then I watched your dad in Raj. Yeah, and the other one I watched was Raj Tilak, which I believe your mum was in as well. And that was a big star cast. But your mum I always remember because I watched Sankranti, Jani Dushman, she was in Satte Pe Satta. So it was like always. And obviously, I was like looking at that. I'm like going, wow, I saw their films right then. And,
Did you used to watch your parents' films as well growing up, or?
More of my dad's, because by the time I was born, my mum had stopped acting. And then she'd be like, you don't need to watch my movie. So, and then it would be on TV and I'd be like, oh my God, Mum, that's you. You're really hot, and she'd be like, don't bother, And my dad's, though, because it was happening in front of us and we would be on set sometimes. Yeah.
Did you feel like you wanted to be a part of that world at a young age?
I didn't ever think I would be an actress. I always thought I would be a writer, director. So I don't know how I ended up here. Yeah.
Is that something you still love to do, though?
Maybe. I think direction is a big responsibility. And having been in the business now, you see the good ones and then you really get mad at the bad ones because you're like, oh my God, this is such a responsible. It's kind of like, it's kind of like being the head of the family, right?
Yeah.
You should do a good job of it. Writing, I still write. I'm writing poetry all the time. I'm writing short stories all the time. Hope to expand into screenplay someday. So yeah, I mean, writing is my first step. Maybe direction. What I've always wanted to direct is music videos, but it's so sad, not just in India, but it's just like, I wish I was a music video director in the 90s for like Aerosmith or something. That's my dream job, to be a famous rock music video director from the 90s. That would be amazing.
I was going to say, I was just watching Armageddon again the other day with the kids because they hadn't seen it.
I love that song.
Yeah, I was telling them about that's Liv Tyler, her dad's Steve Tyler. He's the one who sang that song. And I used to have the album and they were like looking at me like, he sang Crazy, he sang this, and they were just like, what?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Do you find that all the time, like you say you do writing, you like poetry, you write. How do you fit it all in? How do you manage everything you do? Do you have like a schedule? Like, I'm going to get up in the morning?
No, I don't actually. And that's what's worked for me because I think if I became too regimented, my own life would drive me crazy. So I have certain things that I do every day. Like, okay, I have to work out 3 or 4 times a week. And then I practice gratitude every night. 3 things to be grateful for. I do that like a meditative process before I sleep, almost like a religious exercise. And for me, I feel that it puts me in a state of relaxing and gratitude. So I begin my day with that same energy, and I'm not carrying the day before into the new day, So, I mean, in the morning also, I'm like, I'm so happy the sun isn't shining because unlike you guys, I love rainy, gloomy weather, which is why I love London so much.
Absolutely hate it.
Everyone says that. So like this morning I woke up and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad the sun isn't shining.
I live in the sun. We finally started to get a bit of sun here.
I don't mind the rain.
All I think about is let's just go out because we're locked in all the time anyway because it's cold. You just don't want to be out. And finally we're getting a bit of sun and things are starting to open. And I'm planning on what.
I know. I text my friends in the UK and they're like, the sun is out. And I was like, oh, really?
What's new? It's all new.
I know you mentioned obviously the things you do. So what is like your normal when you're not working daily routine? Like do you get up at a certain time? Do you go through a certain, or do you just go, I'll get up when I want to and I'll take the day as it goes?
But even with cooking, do you like plan on a day before, or do you like, no, I fancy this today, I'm gonna make this, or like?
Oh no, I do that the day before because I need to get the delivery stuff in lockdown, so I have to plan that a day before. And usually I'll make a whole list with like a bunch of recipes in my head and get everything and load it up in the fridge so that I can just cook through the week because I really enjoy cooking.
Have you been cooking from a young age?
No, not at all.
No.
I started cooking because I was in music school in LA and I was really craving Indian food and I couldn't cook it. So when I got back, I was like, I need to learn to cook, you know. So I was like, that's when I started. So when I was about 22, but I cook all kinds of stuff. So yeah, but I suffer from insomnia still. And I was just writing something the other day and I think I just really love the night because your phone stops, everyone goes quiet and I just enjoy the peace that I end up staying up. So I always, especially in lockdown, will wake up really late because I'm trying to cut my days shorter because we've just been in here forever. Yeah. So I'm like, but when I'm shooting, it's invariably 5 a.m. up, you know. Sometimes I work 14, 15 hours and then sometimes I get to come home, watch something, go to sleep. But yeah, when I'm shooting, it's a completely different life. So when I don't shoot, I'm really like a college student. Like I eat Pringles on the couch. I wake up post 12 and I just do nothing, you know.
And when do you fit your gym in then, like working out?
I actually really, so if I have to, say for example, like today I'm speaking to you guys in the evening, so I'll work out in the earlier part. But I've always enjoyed working out right before I sleep almost.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you do your workout and you do your meditation. You're more or less a night person, can't you? Enjoy. Wow.
Yeah. You do enjoy your workout. I can't stand working out, but I do. I go to the gym every day. I find it ever so boring. I'm there and I want to come home within 15 minutes, but I do my bit. I'm there. I do a good 40 minutes, but I can't now. I'm a gym person.
No, I think, I agree. So for me, I have to work out because of my job and I have a tendency to put on weight. So it's just a part of like my job manuscript. Like here are your instructions. I love food as well. And I love like my pizzas and my biryani and my rice. And, you know.
I love my food, you know, and obviously you want to keep fit. And it does make you feel good after working out. It's just getting to the gym.
Oh, and I know.
I'm like, oh God, I'm here 15 minutes. How has it only been 15 minutes? I feel like I've been here an hour.
Do you watch something when you do cardio?
I normally do, but I was out of data this morning. So I was like, great, this is going to be even a longer day for me.
You got a couple of new movies. Well, you got a fair few. You got one with Vijay Sethupati that should have came out already. Is that right? Or?
Yeah, should have came out 100 years ago. The pandemic just threw everything in a complete. Yeah, I have that one hopefully coming out soon. I had 2 releases this year, which was really nice for me, you know, as an actor to have. And 2 theatrical releases right before they shut again. Yeah. So I was like, wow, I found that exact slice in which I fit in, you know. I'm currently shooting an Amazon web series, a series for Amazon in Hindi. And I'm doing a film called Salaar, which is in multiple languages. It'll be Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam all together. So
that's the one with Prabhas. Prabhas and Prashant Neels.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about that? Obviously, one's the director of KGF, and the other one it has obviously done Bahubali, and then they're getting together, and you're in there, and a big part in it. So, how does that all feel like?
Yeah, I mean,
or is it just more excitement for us people who are like, just watching and going,
no, it's exciting. No, it's exciting for me as well because it's always nice to be a part of a project that has this big energy. And by that, I mean, everyone, the audience is excited, the producers are excited, the actors, and they're like, oh, it's like we're all going to Disneyland, it's that energy for sure. But it's amazing on set because they're both really lovely gentlemen, like so amazing to work with, so chilled out and so down to earth. So it's an exciting project, yes. But I've been on exciting projects where people haven't been exciting because they're just like, get the job done, But both of them, and like Prabhas is so lovely and down to earth and fun, and so it's really nice.
Oh, that's good to hear. Have you ever worked with your dad, the legend?
I've sung with my dad for many years. I mean, for his production house. I've done the additional voice recording for every single child you've seen in a Kamal Haasan movie. I was available for free. Yeah, so even Chachi Chachi. That's like
I would do that. Like, can you just come and do all this role?
Yeah. So when I finally started acting, I may not have known the acting thing, but when I went to dub the movie, everyone was like blown away because I finished it in a day. I think because that's the training I had like since I was a kid. Like I'll be like, show me the scene, and I'll see the lips, and I'll be like, let's go, and I'll do it like immediately because it was like my dad would be like, this is the game, catch the word, since I was 5. So yes. So I worked with him in different capacities, but we did start a film, but we actually stalled the movie, and I don't know if we're ever going to pick it back up again. So because that was like 4 years ago. But I mean, I'd love to work with him. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And the other thing, I mean, this is just a random question that I thought it'll be nice to ask. Have you ever been offered a film that you've declined, but then later on wished that you had done? Or have you accepted every one that was given?
No, I've declined films and they've gone on to be hits, and I'm like, but I know why I declined it, and I never regret or second guess because I've made mistakes, but at that moment, I was following my instinct. The only thing I've regretted is listening to other people, right? So I've done some movies which aren't being named, where they were like, but you have to do this because, in Bollywood or in this place, or this is the movie you have to do. And then that I've regretted because I've known right off the bat that I wasn't going to enjoy this, right? But I just think everything is written, pre-written, and there's a reason for everything. And I've gotten movies that people have said no to, and those movies have changed my life. So it's all like a balance, know?
Yeah.
So,
I think that's really nicely put. Like you said, that makes it really nice, that saying that everything seems written, even when you're not taking on certain roles or you're getting roles.
I mean, not to sound too foo-foo spiritual, but I always tell people like, I really believe in visualization and all, but I also believe you have to surrender to the larger plan. And your plan has to be to focus on what you want, be a decent human being and, go at what you want. But it's amazing how many times I found myself stuck because I'm like, but I want the new Audi. Whereas someone might be giving you, a Ferrari, so why do you want the Audi, So, and the universe is like, always moves things. And even the bad things come with lessons. There's no way there's no lesson in that. Even the most hurtful and horrible things, at the time you're like, why? But there is, something. It's a part of some plan, whether you're religious or spiritual or even a realist. I think it's just about balancing all of it. Yeah.
I think, just like you put, I think that's really good. It's just that most of the time, people at the time don't want to see that or feel that. Yeah. I mean,
it's hard.
We read a lot about, obviously, law of the attraction or having your feelings or the universe, everything's already written. Yeah. But at the time, you just wish it wasn't written the way it was because you can't see. I think it was Steve Jobs who says, you connect the dots later, backwards. You cannot do them forwards. Only then you can look back and say, that was meant to happen in the way it was kind of thing.
Don't block what you don't know. there's so much we don't know, and there's scary stuff in it, but there's also like really beautiful things in there, I think.
Is there anyone you haven't worked with that you'd like to work with?
I was going to ask the same thing. I was going to ask that.
One female person that you'd really like to work with.
I would love to share screen space with Cate Blanchett. That's my dream.
Yeah.
I'm so obsessed with her career, her performances, of course, even just her off screen. So I don't know, sometimes I feel like, I would say that, and I just feel like she's so fun off screen, but the way she switches and she can become anyone and anything. I'm a huge fan of hers, and it would also be so amazing to share screen space or work creatively with somebody like her. So in the female actors, definitely her. And in the actors, I think I feel, and it won't ever be possible, and I knew him as well, was Irrfan Khan, who's no longer with us. I was in the same movie as him, and I remember asking my director, can I just cross the frame, like in the background? Like I loved his work. I still love his work. And that was the one man while he was alive, I was like, I have to work with him. I have to work with him. And I'd be like asking, is there any way? Is there a movie he's doing? And it just never lined up. And just such an exemplary person and artist. So I regret that. And he will always be on the top of that list.
Because I did see quite a fair few of his interviews and how he talks about other than others talk about him. It was always, and see from his performances and everything, it was really good. It wouldn't have been like working with people like even like Tom Hanks and stuff like that in Hollywood. He didn't ever look like he was out of place. He felt he looked like he belonged kind of thing each time.
Well, it's because people like him carry the weight of who they are very lightly, to put it simply. And that's what makes him, or Tom Hanks, they just feel real, like so real that you love seeing them on screen as well.
Is there a director that you would probably love to work with in any cinema kind of thing?
Oh my God, yeah, I'm a director junkie, so I love a good director. But
you can mention a few if you think that, if I had the opportunity, if there's a few, or if you don't want to mention, that's all right too.
Yeah, I wouldn't mention from India because other directors will be like, what do you mean? I think I would love to be in a film by Michel Gondry, who made Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I just thought he understood women in a very unique way, and people. And then women on top of that. So I found that really amazing. And I would love to act under the direction of someone like that, who just has this weird way of work in a Charlie Kaufman script or so I'm just like, I love those kind of movies that are a bit unexpected.
What if someone was to do a screenplay of that? Would you sort of be happy to readapt that kind of thing in Indian cinema if there were cases?
So guys, the thing is, I'm all for adapting stuff, books to movies, movies from within languages. I also feel though that there are so many layers and sub-layers and subcultures in India that need exploration, and stories that need exploration. So whenever someone comes to me now with a remake, I'm like, surely we have something to say that's never been said before, and that's what's more appealing to me. So even when people say, don't you think India should make movies like Marvel's Avengers? I'm like, why? We have mythology.
Yeah.
It has like 1,000 more characters than the Marvel and DC universe.
Yeah.
So there should be some way to reinterpret it and use it in a non-religious context even, So many mythological stories, just like Greek mythology, Yeah.
I mean, there's, like you were just saying, there's loads of, not even the mythology, there's loads of stories from back in India that no people are willing to sort of touch or bring that upon. It's always looking at what someone else has done and I'm going to do that in a different language or something. So going, no one's touched this. We've got this history that nobody has even touched the surface of. We can bring that to life. But it's just like they just leave either. I don't know why, but it just.
Or even just with women, we're just starting to get the hang of, it's either the desi village-based stories or it's the modern woman, and the modern woman is still so undefined in India, If she's dressed like that, she must be such and such, and if she's. So the exploration of the female stories in India is really exciting. So I don't know if adapting is on my priority. I love a good adaptation, but I don't know if it's on my priority currently. Yeah.
Is there a role that you would love to play, like be a character or something like that you haven't done before?
I've actually never played a musician, weirdly. So I'd love to play a musician. Yeah. I've never played a musician.
Talk about music and instruments. Exactly how many instruments do you play? I know you play the piano.
That's about it. And I can play the tabla just a little bit.
Tabla.
Yeah. And I had to learn it.
And you're singing. What do you... Obviously, you know, is it 8 languages that you speak?
No, gosh, I don't know where this started, but it's a cool rumor. I speak English, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu.
Yeah.
But I understand after that Malayalam, Punjabi, Gujarati, Marathi. So that's 8 languages.
Yeah, so you understand.
I speak 4. Yeah.
All right. I was going to say, what languages can you sing in?
Or any language. I could probably sing in Chinese. Just give me the lyric. No, it's so much easier to sing,
Everything.
Like, I don't speak any Bengali. I've sung in Bengali. I've sung in Gujarati. I've sung in Punjabi. Wow. And I don't speak those languages, but it's just much easier to sing in a language. So I've always had issues with my accent. Like in the North, it feels like South Indian. In the South, it feels North Indian. Everywhere it feels anglicized. But when I come to England, it sounds too Indian. And I'm like, I give up. But when I sing, I can sing in any accent in any language. I don't know. It's just a touch wood. It's probably just the music makes it easier.
That's my thing. I've got this thing where if I'm speaking to, say, if I stayed with you for a few days and you're speaking in a certain accent, my accent automatically changes.
Yeah. That happens to me as well.
So I always like everyone.
We go to London and he's got this accent. I'm looking at him thinking.
Yeah, I'm in London talking to someone, and all of a sudden I'm speaking with a London accent, and these are looking at me like, "Where's this? Just he's only been here about 4 hours. What's happened?" And
no, when I visit London and I come back to India and I speak to my friends, they're like, "Oh, look who's back from London," and I'm like, oh my God, am I sounding like that? And they're like, yeah. So I don't even realize I'm doing it.
If I had spoken to you on the phone, I would never, like, your English is so perfect. You think you're from here completely.
Well, so here's the funny thing though. When I'm in India, they're like, oh, her English is really South Indian. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I don't get it.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's just different perceptions, isn't it?
How long were you in America for?
I studied at a place called Musicians Institute for 2 years. I did music over there. So I was there 2.5 years. Yeah. And then I came back, missed it very much because I was like all of 19 when I went there, and it was Hollywood and LA. It was on the boulevard. And I was like, oh my God, I'm living my dream. It was amazing.
If you had any place that you could live, or any place that you can just go on holiday and be there for as long as you want, where would it be?
London. Yeah. Definitely London. Yeah.
Wow.
I love it there. I don't know what it is because I have not visited for many, many years. None of my movies took me there. Nothing. And then about 5 years ago, my best friend from India moved there with her husband. And she was like, you haven't taken a vacation in 7 years. You're a weirdo. Why don't you come and stay in London? Just take a month off, Christmas. And I was like, fine. And then I remember she's like, my friend's apartment's empty. And it was a beautiful apartment right in front of Regent's Park. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. And then slowly, I just started getting so addicted to London. And I always say it's the mother city for me. It's like the mom I never knew I had. Like, I just love London.
Our problem was we took 4 kids with us in the whole hustle bustle.
And it's
of going trains to trams. It was like, and carrying them, and
you don't even want to think about London because it just reminds you of that day when it was like, oh God.
It was like roasting and and running around with all these children. It was like, the other thing I was going to say, are you a person who takes every day as it goes, or have you got any like 5-10 year plan? Where do you hope to be in, or are you just like, wherever I go, I go?
I mean, I've had plans and they've just like, just evaporated. Except I do have a plan of, okay, by such and such time, I want to go to the next level. And that doesn't mean like leveling up in the way that people think of like more money, a bigger house. Not necessarily that, but more as an artist and more as a human being. Like these things that trouble me today, we all have those things where we work on ourselves and we work on being progressive and better and all of that. But, there's some things we know we can't change right now. So then I promise myself that when I look back 2 years from now, this problem shouldn't exist. Like it could be fear or insecurity. So I work towards stuff like that. And that really helps me achieve even bigger and larger goals. But I've never made huge plans. I just kind of leave them loose, like I said, so that the universe can intercept and maybe change them up a bit.
I like that idea just given that you say to yourself, you don't, looking back, you don't want.
Yeah.
That's really good way of overcoming stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that the only way? I mean, obviously you've probably gone through quite a lot yourself in so many different ways to other people. Everyone does. Everyone's got their story. How did you sort of overcome your insecurities or your obstacles or feelings of probably anxiety or stress, whatever reason? How did you, I think many times people read loads of things like we do, positivity and trying to find a way, but it's not one size that fits all, is it? Everyone's got to find their own sort of way, but it's finding that way until it goes, like you just says. You can read millions of people get up 5 o'clock in the morning, have a routine, do meditation, do gratitude.
It may work, it may not work. You don't know, right? Yeah. I think I really like what you brought up, and I keep referring to this as there is such a thing as toxic positivity as well, where somebody's like, be like me and you will be happy. Do this. I'm so sun kissed. I have a glow because I'm vegan. Like I went vegan and that was like the most unhealthy time for my body. It didn't work for me. So yeah, it's about finding that. For me, I've always been, it's weird because I've been socially awkward, mildly insecure, but extremely confident in being different. So it was always a very yin and yang sort of situation with me. But yeah, I still have certain insecurities, and it's amazing, right? Like if nothing else changes, there'll be a new insecurity every year. Like last year I didn't have this bit of cellulite. This year I do. So there's always going to be something new. So I guess for me, it's to find a healthy way to combat that. But speaking of anxiety, I think I developed it very early on as a child, and it went undiagnosed. And I had severe OCD as a kid, and I didn't share it. So it would be like really weird things that I did on my own. Like, when you say knock on wood, I would do that like 24 times over, like before I slept. So no one would even know. And then later on, when I spoke to a therapist, they were like, yeah, that's a bit crazy, And, but it was going to therapy, getting sober, and addressing the root cause of anxiety. And then it's like, it's everything. Then all the pieces don't seem so scattered. Then you start spending time putting the puzzle together. And then you finally start to see some sort of picture of yourself. And like you said, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long, committed, kind of process with yourself.
Does it still sort of sometimes those things reappear and they're there, but you go, okay, now I can just deal with it. Like, it's there. Because I don't think it probably always goes away. It's just like, yeah, it's there, but I know how to deal with it now, kind of thing. I understand it better. Is that what it is?
Yeah, so I think there's like core issues and then peripheral issues, right? And then some peripheral issues come when you're a teenager or when you just start out at a new job. And then you think back like 2 years later, you're like, why was I even nervous about this like coworker or my boss? Like I've got it now. So some things dissipate themselves, but some core things, which is where parenting, nature, nurture, and all of this, psychological jargon comes in, is they really need to be addressed because they're like shadows, So you've got to really address them, and that takes time. And those are core things that won't move. So I realized when I go back that I'm very much the same core person that I was even as far back as 10 or 11, Yeah.
How long have you been sober for now?
I've been sober for 4 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did that affect quite a lot of your life back then?
Because I think especially in the entertainment industry, and I think, people, alcohol is such an easy access. You got fired, you're sad, have a drink. It's your birthday, have a drink. You got a puppy, have a drink. And it just keeps going on and on. And I think in England, the toughest thing was going, I don't drink now. And there's so many bloody pubs.
Pubs, bars, restaurants, everything, drink.
And when you don't drink, you realize all those boards are like, come to our beer garden, come in right now. And you're like, this is Satan's work.
Testing your willpower.
But I'm so glad. What I did is my process through sobriety was really long and complicated because it was never anything someone said, you need to stop drinking. I needed to stop drinking. I knew it and I knew why. And when I stopped, I realized, I get why I was doing it. So I had to put everything else into perspective as well. So I really just needed to stop. And then I realized I'd made so many choices that I wouldn't have otherwise. And it's just, it's the usual sobriety story, really. And it's an everyday process. And I feel really powerful for staying sober. Yeah.
Having the parents that you had and going through everything that you've learned along the way, in the future, if you have kids and stuff like that, what kind of things would you, from what you've learned, be able to tell them of, how they should be? Or,
I don't think I can tell them how they should be. I can say, I can say these are the things that have worked for me. Well, some basic things like don't be a potty mouth, don't be rude, wipe your mouth at the table, that stuff. But apart from that, I don't think I would tell my kids what to be. I think it's my job as the parent to understand them and not put my idea of what they should be as a child.
I was going to say, what I always say with our kids is, they're not there to live our life. We're just there to guide them with theirs. So we're there if they need us, but otherwise it's their mistakes to learn from where they gotta go. Because we've never been perfecting ourselves of knowing our ins and outs. We're still trying to learn ourselves. So just because we're older, it doesn't mean, we want them to be safe, but we can't live their life for them and they can't live our life for us. Yeah. That's what we try to do in our home. It's never always easy like that, like you said.
No, of course not.
Because we could be thinking one thing, they're thinking something. Our mind is trying to tell them something, and then it carries on.
How long were you drinking for? How long was it going on for?
I think, when you're a teenager, you try with your friends. I didn't seriously start drinking for a very long time, really. Probably when I was 26, 27, it just became a part of parties after shoots and just, I didn't even realize when I started drinking in a way that I didn't like, and I think it was always just fine. And I think it was so related to the stress of this business. At one point, I always say this, I'm most not cut out for the most successful not cut out person in this business because I didn't understand how to play, by the rules or the game or how to schmooze. And I've always felt like an outsider or a weirdo. And today I realize that's my strength. And that's what makes people feel like, we can talk to her. She feels like one of us, not like a person who's been doing movies, whatever.
Yeah.
But getting there was really stressful. And honestly, it's just such a part of our culture. Are you stressed? Just have a beer, It's such a small and simple thing to say. I've had a long day. Have you? Have a scotch.
drank to go, you drink to go on stage to perform or like to do your work?
No, I never did that. I never did that. I did it to avoid emotions. Really just to avoid emotions. Because I think, and that's something I've realized, it's not just my problem. We've come into a phase where it's like, don't be so intense, don't be so emotional, just be cool. But you need to sometimes. And also, whether it's at a job or even in a family situation, sometimes where you're constantly having to be something and you're saying, oh God, is this who I really am? Then the you that you really are starts to retaliate in different ways. And for me, the retaliation is like, if you want me to shut up, you better douse me with something,
Yeah.
And that's what I did. Yeah. When I came out and spoke about it, it was like, oh, shiv. Like, how could she say that she does? India has some of the largest closeted alcoholics, and nobody wants to talk about it. And women alcoholics, so because it's so not sanskari and it's so, but, I just felt it's important I talk about anxiety, and it was so bad for me physically with my PCOS. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to talk about. And, I'm very proud. And anyone who's been sober knows it's something you celebrate without shame. You never be ashamed of it. Yeah.
But it's nice that you not only sharing that, but obviously sharing, regarding mental health or, your insecurities and the feeling. Because like you said, majority of the time people, certainly with Instagram and all this thing, everyone tries to show a whole different life, not their struggles, not their pains. Everyone's happy, everyone's enjoying, everyone's with their families doing the best, no one's turning around and going, you know what, I sometimes just need time out. I do feel like it doesn't mean it's a bad life, but I'm having a bad day kind of thing. Sometimes I feel horrible within myself, but it's that thing, and then everyone else don't want to talk about it because no one else is talking about it. So it's great that like you've been.
Thank you.
A lot of respect for that, because even like with myself, I've gone through, or we all have gone through stuff. And I always say to Steve that one day I'd like to maybe help people or talk about what I've gone through, and it's not that I find it difficult. I've come over my stages of everything that I've gone through. But still learning. There's still a lot to pass, go by. Like I'm still learning stuff. But it's just one of those things that it would be nice. Like it's nice that you're being very open about it. That I'd love to.
Thank you. 4 years ago, there's no way I could have spoken about any of this because I wasn't ready. And you'll know when you're ready to share your love and your lessons. You'll know. I think.
There you go. Inspiration. Yeah.
There you are.
So
younger than us as well.
Yeah, so hopefully one day you can tell your story, what you're feeling and what you're going through and still dealing with. I was going to say, do you believe, not just yourself, but do you believe like being in either actress or singer or being a celebrity, does that affect the relationships that you can have? Obviously working away and, would you feel like that does hinder it or
no?
No.
No. And I started realizing that I really need to avoid dating actors because they're the worst, and I know because I'm one, So yeah. But I mean, never say never. But the thing is that I feel that it's very important to in whether you're dating seriously or dating for fun or you're getting married, or even if it's your parents looking for someone to arrange a marriage with and you're just meeting them, is to be very honest about what you can and cannot do for the relationship and what you will not compromise on for your own life and what you're willing to give to the joint life. And I think if you know that even from the smallest to the largest level, then everything else is about, evolving and, mutating into what becomes eventually years and years like you guys,
How many tattoos do you have?
I have 5 tattoos. I have this, which is supposed to be a rose, but is most popularly known as the cabbage. And then I have one on my back, one on my foot, and one on my shoulder, and one behind my ear. So 5, yeah.
Oh, you've got one on your back. Is that the lower back?
Both, upper shoulder and lower back. But not like the tramp stamp area, more to the side.
I've got a lower back, so I've got probably the same amount you've got as well. tattoo wise.
Yeah. I've asked people to try and fix this, and they're like, I like in London, 2-3 people are like, no, I'm not going near that.
Where did you get it done? It wasn't a drunken thing you did.
No, not at all. In fact, I wanted a rose. I love roses. So I had originally a small Reiki symbol, and then someone said, oh, you shouldn't have that. You should cover that up because it magnifies everything. Oh, okay. So my sister had these gorgeous ballerina shoes on her back because she dances, and I was like, gosh, I love that tattoo. And she's like, really? It's my friend. My sister's like super popular. Like I'm the socially awkward one. She is like Oprah Winfrey. There's everybody. And she's like, oh my God, it's my friend. And he did it. And okay, I'm going to call him. So just go to this tattoo place. And then she's like, yo, what's up? Yeah, my sister. Yeah, tomorrow, good. I was like, wow, this is so exciting. Yeah, tomorrow. So I go there and then I say, this is the tattoo I want. It's like a tiny rose. And then he starts doing it, and we're like midway through, and I'm like, he's a bit shit at this. And then my sister texts me saying, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I called the wrong guy. They have like a similar name. So, yeah, so it was kind of like a rose, but it also looked like pigeon poop on your windscreen. So I was like, I need to fix this. And then I went to this guy and I said, I want a big thing. And I was like, I don't think this looks good. And they said, no, it looks fine. It looked great when it's just wet ink right now. Now I know it's just a whole load of BS. Because I was like, this looks like a cabbage. And it did. It feels like a cabbage. So I've just had really bad luck with this role.
What about piercings? What do you think about piercings? Do you have?
I do. I have a belly button piercing. I had a nose piercing. But I had to remove it for movies.
It's everything same.
I
want to get my tongue too, but again with singing and it's hard. I'm sure when you first got it, you couldn't speak, could you, for a week?
No, I couldn't. No, you wouldn't be able to sing for a while. But it's only about a week, 4 days max. I was on soup for 4 days, but I took it out. It chipped one of my teeth.
Yeah, that is. I have veneers, so I can't have a little metal clangy thing in my mouth.
But I want to have it redone again. I've been saying for a while because you can get little plastic balls now that stop. Yeah, you break them really. Because I still talk as if it's there because my tongue, because obviously the tongue rolls around the bar. Yeah. So I really want to get it again. Yeah, and I want a few more tattoos. It's just I've been saying for a while. I want the jurel. I want something relating to everything I've gone through, going uphill. I don't know. I'm thinking of ideas. So yeah, tattoos and piercings and.
I just stay away from it. I just don't like.
He's the clean slate.
No, he has a little mole here. He says I've got the whole world.
I've got the whole world.
I don't need no more.
It was so amazing talking to you guys. I feel like so happy that we spoke. Just lovely conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being our first as well.
We're never going to forget this. And you've been... Honestly, it was like, it's weird. It's like having a guest in your house, and we wish we could have done some samosa and jar and everything like that. And hopefully,
when you come to
you come to the UK. It'll be lovely to meet you.
Where do you guys live exactly?
We live in Birmingham.
Not far from
Birmingham. Yeah, okay. I've actually never been to Birmingham, so I'd love to.
If you ever come. Like I said,
ever in the UK, it'd be lovely
to meet you in person. Would have something to
love that.
It's been a pleasure, and this is one thing that we are grateful for. And you've been great. Like I said, it hasn't been. You made us feel so comfortable, and made it easy for us. And like I said, love to meet you in person one day. That'll be a blessing kind of thing. And keep up what you're doing because you are inspiring.
Thank you. You guys too. Best of luck, and what an amazing journey you guys have had, and I hope it's just greater and brighter and always growing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Take care. Lots of love.
Bye.
It's so nice seeing you. This is our son. It's our son Veer. He wants to say hi.
He's just
say hi.
He's a bit shy. He's just walked back in from school and he's like, yes, I want to say hi, Mom.
Oh, nice to meet you, Veer.
He is shy, obviously.
He's a shy lad, but he wanted to say hi.
You want to carry on doing your own? Yeah?
Yeah, please.
Just let him go.
Oh,
you want to shout that?
no, it's all right.
You sure?
He got an award today for PE as well for playing hockey. So he wanted to show. Well,
Come on, show.
Oh yeah, I want to see it, babe.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
He's very
He's so shy.
He's very nervous.
I love your hair. I love your hair, by the way.
Love your hair.
Thank you. He's really, really shy.